We are going from 0 to 60 with Tangled, so let's get cracking! Hello all my explorers and welcome back to Loren's Adventures Out There. And if you're new, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Loren and I'm with Castlescapes and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. We do unboxings and hauls, pins, box swaps, Disney news, Disney reviews, and more. So if that sounds fun to you, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel if you aren't already. Hit the bell for notification if you haven't already. And do like this post, as it really does help us out. And so we continue our series from 0 to 60, in which we look at the films of Walt Disney Animation Studios in chronological order. We started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we'll go to the 60th film, Encanto. And today, we are going to discuss one of my favorite Disney films, 2010's Tangled. Tangled is loosely based on the German folktale Rapunzel by the Brothers Grimm. It tells the tale of a young woman, Rapunzel, who lives her whole life in a tower and has long hair with healing qualities. While she is fairly happy, she dreams of seeing the floating lanterns which appear on her birthday, but her mother forbids her to see them. Opportunity knocks when a thief named Flynn tries to hide out in her tower while her mother is gone. She makes Flynn take her to see the lights, and the two go off on a grand adventure. The idea for Disney adapting Rapunzel actually began in 1996 with legendary animator Glen Keane. In 2001, he pitched the idea to then CEO Michael Eisner, who greenlit the project but wanted the film to be in computer animation. Keane was hesitant, believing the technology would not convey his vision. In 2003, it was announced that the film would now be called Rapunzel Unbraided and would be released in 2007. Kristen Chenoweth would be the voice of Rapunzel. In this version, two teenagers named Claire and Vince are whisked from modern-day San Francisco to the fairy tale world, where they would become Rapunzel and her boyfriend, Beau. At one point, the characters would turn into a squirrel and a dog. While some development was done on that story, Keane felt that it lacked the sincerity needed for the project. So in 2005, Keane was given time to rework the story. And in 2006, when John Lasseter became Chief Creative Officer, projects were shut down for him to review. The film, however, was quickly reinstated for Keane to continue. In 2007, Dean Mullins was brought on board to co-direct, but in 2008, both he and Keane stepped down as directors. Keane would remain as executive producer and supervising animator. It would later be revealed that Keane had suffered a heart attack that year. Both director and supervising story artists Byron Howard and Nathan Greno, respectively, would take on the mantle. Part of the challenge to the story was that the original fairy tale ends when Rapunzel escapes the tower. How could they expand the story? Animator John Ripa suggested in a production meeting that her goal should be to see the floating lanterns, and the rest fell into place. Animation was also a challenge, since the mandate from high up was the film had to be in CGI. Keane looked for ways to bend it to his will. He sought inspiration from the paintings of French artist Jean-Honoré Fragonard. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Keane credited Disney 3D animator Kyle Strawitz for helping develop technology that would mesh the best of CGI with hand-drawn animation and the lush tapestry he wanted to create. In designing Flynn Rider, they wanted to create the most handsome man in Disney canon. They held a quote-unquote hot man meeting where they invited 30 women to talk about what they found attractive in men. They finally landed on a final concept. In terms of casting, in 2009, it was announced that Mandy Moore and Zach Levi would be playing the main characters. Moore was over the moon, as it was her lifelong dream to be a Disney princess. For Flynn, it was originally mandated that his character be British. Levi auditioned in an English accent, but they liked him so much that they told him that he could record with his natural American accent. In terms of music, Tangled would mark the return of Alan Menken to write the music for Walt Disney Animation Studios, his first since Home on the Range in 2004. Menken wanted to create a sound that would embrace both Pixar's signature sound with Pixar's quirkier sound. He created music where Broadway met 1960s folk music. Coincidentally, Moore auditioned with the Joni Mitchell song. I See the Light, the love ballad from Tangled, was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song, but lost to We Belong Together from Toy Story 3. There was a big controversy with the title and marketing of Tangled. Disney was hesitant to name the film Rapunzel because of their disappointment with Princess and the Frog. They blamed the emphasis on princess in the title as being a reason for the film not being as successful as they wanted. They feared that a well-known princess's name in the title would once again affect the box office. The marketing for the film heavily emphasized Flynn Rider in the film, sometimes almost making you question if Rapunzel were in the movie. Margot McGowan, writing for the San Francisco Chronicle's blog, said, "Can you imagine if Disney switched a movie title so it wouldn't risk highlighting a male star? It's awful that this kind of racial gender discrimination exists for our smallest people. Little kids who come into this world with huge imaginations and aspirations, big dreams that get squashed by a bunch of billionaire guys who run massive entertainment franchises." Critically, Rotten Tomatoes scored Tangled 89% certified fresh, with the critical consensus being, while far from Disney's greatest film, Tangled is a visually stunning, thoroughly entertaining addition to the studio's classic animated canon. Box office-wise, the film made $592.5 million, almost twice the amount Princess and the Frog made. By 2017, it was the sixth highest grossing film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios, behind The Lion King, Big Hero 6, Frozen, Zootopia, and Moana. Tangled spent 6 years in production at a cost of $260 million, which would make it not only the most expensive animated film ever made, but one of the most expensive films of all time. So what did I think of Tangled? Like I said at the beginning, it is one of my favorite Disney films. I fell in love with the film. At first I was actually hesitant because I heard of all of the stories of what was happening with Tangled at first, and I remember when Kristen Chenoweth was attached to the role and it being called Rapunzel Unbraided, and then hearing that they didn't want to call it Rapunzel because of what happened with Princess and the Frog. So I was so worried that they would overwork this film. But I found that they created one of the most likable and relatable princesses of all time in Disney films. I find Rapunzel, I relate to Rapunzel so much, just being kind of like a goofy, awkward person. And I did think that they managed to succeed with Flynn Rider, because he is Hubba Hubba. Yeah, I just think that overall it's a great film. I can totally see the inspirations from French paintings. It's just beautiful to look at. You had very stylized trees with kind of realistic renderings, very similar to Ivan Earl in Sleeping Beauty. So I just think that this film was great, and it is just one of my favorite films. So, did you watch Tangled? And if you did you love it or did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you had a fun time today, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel if you aren't already. Hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. Visit us on all of our socials down below, and visit our website at www.castlescapesandclones.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you later. Bye.